Hi there, MAT 221 students. This is Professor Tolino, and we're just wrapping up week number 1 and about to embark on week number 2 here. So, finishing up week number 1. Just make sure you go through, you post your introduction, discussion, and then this is where sometimes it gets a little sticky here. You have a quiz, ALEKS Lab, ALEKS Homework. So, we're going to walk through that real quickly here. So, for discussion 1, there's one thing that I do want to point out. I want to remind everybody that in the direction area here, there is an example. So make sure you guys access that example just so you kind of get a feel for what's expected of you. And so let's just look at the example here that comes up. And here it is. So then now right here, the one thing that I want to emphasize, and somebody did a great job of this, is as you go along here, you want to make sure you have your math steps, and right along the side of it, make sure you have the explanation for the math step. So, once again, you have your math steps, like this one here was the plugging in the numbers, substitution. So yeah, each math step should be explained. And so this is a posted example, and they'll be posted in each of the discussions so that you know what's expected of you. So, that's in the discussion, and make sure you respond to at least 2 other students in each discussion. And the discussions, you want to make sure that they're not just, hey, good job, great wording. You want to really make sure you look at the math and say something specific. Say something that kind of makes the conversation go further into the content versus just some surface level comment that really it doesn't add to the discussion. So make sure you try to get some content into those discussion responses. Alright, and then so you have the quiz. Now this is a very short quiz here. So this quiz here, just make sure you go through and begin the quiz, just very short, very quick. It's not too hard of points. But then this is the next part here that I really want to focus on, are the ALEKS Labs. So in the ALEKS Labs, make sure you have the ALEKS Labs, you click on the ALEKS Lab website, and you'll get a screen that looks like this one. In here, this is where you can access your ALEKS homeworks as well as the labs. The homeworks are right here in this assignment section. And so this is where the homeworks are listed. So make sure you go through and you finish up the week 1 assignment. But then also at the same time here, let's just go back, and the pies. This is your pie chart. Now, in order to actually access all of week 2, you want to make sure you finish week 1. So as you go to week 1, you want to make sure you complete all 55 of 55. If you don't complete all 55 of 55, you're not going to be able to access all the different questions for week 2. Now, what happens here is the material builds upon one another. So as the material builds upon one another, there's some things that you need to master in this week 1 before you can take it to week 2. So, and when I say that, now in week 2, if for some reason you don't finish week 1, it'll only allow you to do maybe 20 of those questions or 15, and it'll tell you you have no more questions. So many often students will think, oh, I have it done, but you don't. You don't have access to all of them because you need to finish the week 1. So that's just a very common mistake that many students make. In order to get access to all of week 2 and week 3 and week 4 and so on, you want to make sure you finish the prior week's material. Alright, so let's go to week number 2 here. Let's just make sure we walk through what's going on. We have the instructor guidance. So this is filled with a bunch of different notes, resources, video links. And then let's take a look at the discussion. So in this discussion, what you want to do is, once again, we have the example. And so in that example, it goes through and it just shows you in general what's expected of you, having the step, and then making sure the explanation is right next to it. And so you want to make sure you have each step explained again. And you want to have good explanations. I mean, those are key to help me to basically assess whether you understand the material or not. And so make sure everything's explained very thoroughly. Alright, and so let's just take a look at that content real quick. So, first off, this says, read about Crowley's rule for children's size doses of medicine. So it actually refers to a textbook page. Well, there's a couple ways you can get to that textbook page. I did post a video on the announcements, but let's just go through it one more time. If you're actually in the ALEKS Labs, you can get the ebook right there. And so, there's the ebook. Sometimes it takes a second to load. Alright, and so let's take a look here. We need page 119, and that's number 92. So let's go to page 119. And, let everything load here. Let's go to number 92. Alright, so here's 92. So this is the formula that we're looking at. So this is what we want to try to do. Now, over here, it says we want to read about it, but then it wants to solve part A and B of the problem using the following details. So, you're not going to actually complete the work that's here for A and B. Instead of using the numbers there, you're going to complete those questions, but there's going to be different numbers assigned to each of you. And so what that's going to be is, if your last name starts with this letter, so this is going to be based on the last name. So as your last name starts, say, with A, you're going to use these numbers here for A, these numbers for B. So we're going to change it up so that everybody has a different type of problem to work with. Well, at least it's meant to be, for the most part, that we have different problems in the discussion board. And as you work through all these different examples, and as everyone works through them, there's going to be different unique things that happen with some of the combinations. And those are things that I would like you guys to focus on as you comment to other people. So we have this discussion here, and once again, we have the example, so that you guys can access and see what's expected of you. And then also at the same time, let's scroll down here a little bit. I have in here some links to great resources for solving equations. Some other things that I want to emphasize is some of you attached some Word documents. You know, my supervisors really want to emphasize you guys put in your work right here in the discussion forum. And so if you go to respond, and I did post this for some of you guys, if you go to respond, right in this response box, right over here is an x squared button. That's a math equation editor. And so you can actually put your work right in there with that equation editor. It works very similar to that of Microsoft Word. And so I'm going to create an equation. This is just to get a feel for it. And here's all your different options. You have all the different symbols, so you have symbols here, you have different arrows, you have everything that's math related in here. And the first screen is where you're going to use the majority of, spend the majority of your time. So you have radicals, you have fractions, you have exponents, everything there for you to use. So if you need a fraction, there's a fraction. And so it creates two different cells, top, bottom, so you can put your numbers in. And you can just go from there. Make sure you put a title here, and then save and insert. And so that's how you can put an equation right in there. Then again, just like the other weeks, you could also have a quiz, similar to the same as week one. It's not different questions, obviously. And then you have the ALEKS Lab and ALEKS Homework. And so just make sure you work diligently. Try not to let the work pile up. Sometimes students will think that they have the entire 5 weeks, and some try to cram everything into that last week. It can be overwhelming. It can be very stressful. And I'll be honest, there's some professors that just won't allow it. Now, for the ALEKS Labs and ALEKS Homework, I'm going to leave those assignments open for you guys to continuously work on. And it is expected for you to get week 1 done in week 1, week 2 in week 2. If you did need an extra day or two, you just make sure you let me know, and that's perfectly acceptable for me. You just make sure you don't let the work pile up. As soon as that piles up, I always get emails from students saying that they're stressed out, there's a lot of work, and because that's the one thing that Americans are so used to doing. Procrastination, it's sometimes our worst enemy. So just try to be diligently, work little by little each day, and just chop away at the assignments, and you're going to be very successful. I'm sure everyone will. So just recapping. So week 2, week 2 we're working on some linear equations and inequalities. Some of the notes are right there in that instructor guidance for you. Make sure you get the discussion, quiz, Alex Labs, and Alex Homework. If you need any assistance, make sure that you email me or post in the Ask Your Instructor spot in the course. All right, let's just make sure you guys know what that is. Meet Your Instructor, Ask Your Instructor. You can post right here for some questions, or email me if you don't want to post there. That's perfectly fine. I'm here to assist you, and I just hope you guys have a good week, and let's keep moving forward.